Hello everybody! Before we begin, I would like to let you all know that I have a book out. It is called Not Quite Dead, and it is the story of a woman whose fiancé passed away a year ago, having dreams where he tells her that he's still alive and trying to use said dreams to get him back. It is available on Amazon in both paperback and ebook formats, so if you've ever wanted to support me financially, then this is your opportunity to do so. Link is in the description.
Hey gang, it's Squill, and over the course of the first few months of 2025, I watched two shows about a guy named Mark, Severance Season 2 and Invincible Season 3. Now, outside of New Adventure Time, I don't usually make these sorts of topical reviews, but while watching these two great shows week to week, I realized I actually had a lot to say about both of them, so why not talk about them? These won't be super in-depth or anything, just casual reviews for both seasons. And if y'all like this, maybe I'll do more of these in between bigger videos, we'll see. Also, spoiler warning for both shows. If you haven't seen Severance or Invincible, then I absolutely recommend going in blind. With that said, let's begin with Season 2 of Severance. Ah man, Severance. This show is just wild. It's one of those shows where every episode just leaves you on the edge of your seat. I had an absolute blast watching Season 2 week to week, especially since a friend and I went over every episode after they aired. That's the fun with weekly airing schedules, they give you time to soak each episode in and speculate what'll happen next week. Because of that, I've pretty much seen every episode of Season 2 twice already, and man, what a fantastic season of television it is. An improvement on what was already a fantastic first season. Even under the likely circumstance that Fiona and Cake Season 2 releases this year, it'll probably end up being my favorite season of 2025. I'll get my one gripe with the season out of the way now, and that is the pacing. Not that it was bad per se, I think it's mostly just the Gemma and Cobell episodes back to back that mess things up. These are both experimental episodes focused solely on one character, and while I like them both, especially the Gemma episode, the fact that we get two full episodes without Hallie, Dylan, and Irving is a little whack. It makes some stuff in episode 9 feel like it could have used a bit more time, particularly the Irving and Bert plot. I feel like this could have been reconciled by adding like 10 or so minutes to the Cobell episode to make room for other characters' plots. It's already the shortest episode of the show so far, so why not? But outside of that, yeah, this season was amazing. Like with Season 1, the editing in this season is so damn good. Just so many insane shots. Mark's reintegration made for some really cool trippy sequences where he flashes back and forth between his innie and outie. The season has such a great overarching theme, that being the importance of personal connections and relationships. This theme is exemplified through pretty much every major character on the show. We see it through both Innie and Outie Helly, how Outie Helly wants the relationship her Innie has with Mark because she doesn't have anything like that. She's kind of obsessed with Mark, it's a little freaky. But Innie and Outie Helly aren't the same person, so when she and Mark have sets, it feels so cold and impersonal. Compare that to when Mark has sets with Innie Helly. It's more awkward and innocent than the former scene, but because of the bond they share, it feels so much more intimate. Side note, the way they handle Mark and Outie Helly having sets is basically just a good version of what Season 4 of The Boys did with Huey and Annie. If you've seen The Boys Season 4, you know what I'm talking about. I also love Dylan's little arc this season, where upon seeing that he has a family in Season 1, he becomes disillusioned with Lumen, which is exasperated by him having frequent meetings with his Outie's wife. He's learning that it's not the work or the rewards from Lumen that matter, it's the real personal connections that really make us who we are. We see this with Bert and Irving too, how just knowing that his innie found someone who made him happy makes him long for the same thing. It must be lonely for him, just living alone with only his dog keeping him company. Like I said before, I definitely feel like this arc could have gotten more time, especially since Irving isn't in the finale at all, but I'm sure we'll get more of it in Season 3. Speaking of Irving, Episode 4, Woe's Hollow, was a real standout. I love the atmosphere of the group traversing the snowy mountain, especially with these weird doppelgangers of them all. The 1-2 punch of the Hallie reveal and Irving getting fired makes for such an insane ending. I really wonder if we'll ever see any Irving again, or if this was basically his death. I really love how much weight the other characters give his loss, again emphasizing the personal relationship. Episode 7, Shikai Bardo, was an amazing flashback episode. The situation that Gemma is in is downright horrific, having her consciousness split up between several innies, all forced into slavery, while at the same time showcasing her Audi's relationship with Mark, how special they were to each other and how much guilt Mark probably feels over what happened to her. The editing in this one is also especially great. But that finale, man, what an incredible way to end the season. Episode 10, Cold Harbor, is not only my favorite episode of the show, but also one of my new favorite episodes in all of television. It encompasses everything that makes Severance great. First off, the pacing in this episode is perfect. I'm so glad they got to make it an hour and 15 minutes. It gives the show enough time to breathe. Every decision Mark makes is given so much weight to it. Getting a full conversation between Innie and Audi Mark is so great. I really love the ideas brought up in this finale, that the Innies are people too and that their lives are just as valuable as their Audis. Audi Mark may just want Gemma back, but it's incredibly selfish for him to expect his Innie to sacrifice himself. This episode is really funny too. I love the stand-up between Milchick and the Jay Megan statue. So much fun. It's also a very grand feeling episode, as the Innies fight for the lives that they have and stand up to Milchick, as Mark finally gets Gemma out of the testing floor. And that final scene, man, it's such a wonderful combination of heartbreaking and triumphant. It's obviously heartbreaking from Gemma's perspective, who finally gets her chance to see Mark again, only for him to leave her for Helly. But from Mark and Helly's perspective, what a triumphant moment for them. Just watching them run off together, not even knowing where they're going, but knowing that they have each other. Again, just emphasizing the importance of these relationships. Just a perfect way to end the season. I've seen some people say that Mark made the wrong choice here, and I want to call bull on that. Mark saved Gemma. That's all he was really obligated to do. Why should he be forced to give his own life just for his Audi and a person he barely knows? Sure, him going with Helly is selfish, but so is what Audi Mark wanted him to do. The lives of these Innies are just as valuable as those of the Audis. Season 2 of Severance was fantastic. Probably good enough for me to call Severance as a whole one of my top 10 favorite shows of all time. Can't wait for Season 3. Let's just hope it doesn't take another 3 years. Alright, Invincible time. It is kind of a bummer that this season was overshadowed a bit for me by having Severance there at the same time. I mean, Severance Season 2 started a few weeks before Invincible Season 3, and ended 1 week after. That's kinda rough. Thankfully, however, I still really like Season 3 of Invincible. It might be my favorite season so far, though I think all 3 are pretty close. I really like how much the season emphasizes the morally gray world these characters live in. Like, the Mark vs. Cecil conflict at the start of the season, it really shows off Mark's stubbornness. How unaccepting he is of the idea of Darkwing reforming, despite seeing it happen with Nolan last season. The season really emphasizes the humanity of this world, that not every villain is a bad person, that sometimes well-meaning people are just put in rough spots. That montage at the start of episode 3 with the 2 villains is one of my new favorite scenes in the whole show. The story told with no dialogue about how this couple is forced into a life of crime just to be able to live. It's tragic. And I love that it's just completely divorced from the rest of the episodes. The show is so good at humanizing all of its characters. I really liked Oliver's arc this season. I actually couldn't tell whether he'd stay on Mark's side or just go full Omni-Man. Love his dynamic with Mark. It's sort of like an inverse of the Mark and Nolan dynamic from season 1. I also liked Mark and Eve's relationship this season, very sweet, especially since this gives her a chance to interact with Debbie and Oliver. Gotta say, the first 5 episodes are all pretty strong, but the last 3 is probably my favorite stretch of episodes in the entire show so far. Episode 6, All I Can Say Is I'm Sorry, is probably my favorite episode of Invincible. It's another great example of the show emphasizing the humanity in its villains. Powerpletz is such a sympathetic character. He's obviously misguided in blaming the loss of his family on Mark, but you can also very easily see where he's coming from. Nobody's out here holding these heroes accountable. Innocent civilians die and it's treated as though they barely matter. Following the sympathetic person spiral downward into accidentally killing his wife and child is just heartbreaking. And of course, Aaron Paul gives an excellent performance, really selling the tragedy of the character. Even if it was hard not to hear Jesse Pinkman every time he talked. Still a great performance. Episode 7, What Have I Done, was also crazy. Cutting between different scenes as the alternate universe marks just wreak havoc on the world. It's devastating watching them cause so much chaos, as all the characters just fight to survive. They do such a great job at giving each mark their own unique personality. It'd be so easy to just make a bunch of evil marks act all the same, but I love that they each have their own unique quirk. Like the one who really misses his mom, the one who just loves fighting, the stoic one, they're all their own person. I also thought Retz's death was handled well. He got a solid arc over the course of the first 3 seasons, growing into more of an adult while still maintaining his snarky personality. I like the sacrifice here, I just hope they don't try to bring Retz back like they do with a lot of other characters. It'd feel really cheap. Though what was up with Rudy stealing his name? Such a weird moment. Finally, episode 8, I Thought You'd Never Shut Up, was a pretty strong finale. Conquest was a great character. I love how much pleasure he takes in just beating Mark to a pulp. He seems to almost get off on it. I love the scene where he lets Mark see through his facade and tells him how lonely he is, fully expecting Mark to die before he's able to tell anyone. The animation in this episode is so damn fluid, making for such a dynamic fight between Mark and Conquest. Super gory too. The way he just rips through Eve is crazy. It'll be interesting to see how these last couple of episodes affect Mark in that season. This season he tried really hard to stick to his no-killing rule, but it looks like next year will give us a more ruthless version of Mark. I really liked this season, but I do have a couple of criticisms. First off, I really wish the animation was better. I know everyone has talked about this, but it just sucks to see such a good show not be given the budget it deserves. Outside of the finale, which again looks great. The characters can feel very stiff a lot of the time, which is a huge bummer. I alluded to this before, but one of my biggest pet peeves with the show is how little characters actually die. Kate, Ray, Angstrom, Conquest, it feels like every time a character dies, they're just brought back right after, which makes the stakes feel a lot lower. This is why I really hope Red stays dead. It feels like he probably will, his ending felt definitive, but you never know. Lastly, I was disappointed with how little Omni-Man we got this season. I really liked his team up with Alan in episode 4, it was very fun. But after that, he's just gone for the rest of the season. I was really expecting him to come back in the finale, especially with Conquest, another Viltrumite coming to Earth. I really wanted to see him interact with Debbie again, hopefully next season. But criticisms aside, I really like Season 3 of Invincible, and I'm excited for Season 4 next year. Great stuff. So that was Severance. It was fun getting the chance to yap about a couple of shows I've been watching. May or may not do this again sometime, we'll see. For now, let me know if you watched the most recent seasons of Severance and Invincible, and what you thought of them in the comments. Everyone have a good one. Squill out.